Now what I'd like to do is go back and let's start on with the 1994. Now, if you excuse me, I won't drink them this time because I've already had 2 sessions. I've got another session to go, and when I fly back this evening into Glasgow, I've got a car to drive home. But if you'd like to start with the 94 and actually taste it. Now, can I say to you, we'll be finishing in about 15 minutes or so. If there's anything left in the glasses, they'll be thrown away down the sink. And as a Scotsman, that really gets me there. You know, we're not mean. Honestly, we're not. We're just careful with money. We are. We don't like throwing whiskey away. So if you taste it, you will taste that difference between the Cardeas and the 12-year-old. The 12-year-old now is much, much saltier. It's much brighter. It's a much cleaner style flavour. Although there's an intense peatness there, there's a very much a cleaner style taste. When you then go on to the 1989, which is 17 years old, the 17-year-old is mouth-filling. It's the best description I can give you. It actually seems to fill the mouth, it seems to coat the mouth. And if you then go on to the Cardeas has that intense peat taste. It's a massive, it's just like chewing a piece of peat. Now while you're actually finishing the drinks, are there any questions? Because this is the only time you're going to get to ask with them. So if you've got questions, please just ask away and I'll answer them. If I can't give you an answer, if it's a company secret, I will tell you. Yes?
What does Cardeas stand for? Is that friendship?
Friendship in Gaelic. It is.
Gaelic.
Well, excuse me, garlic was something the French used in cooking. I know, I fully agree with you. But most people understand what Gaelic is rather than Gaelic. Gaelic is what we call it in Scotland. But as I say, I've said Gaelic in umpteen places, and they say, what do you mean, that little herb? And I'm saying no, which is why I call it Gaelic. Any other questions?
Regarding the quarter cask,
yes.
Transferring to the Ardmore, is that also your responsibility?
Yes. In 2003, I actually had to design a cask. The flavour package of the Laphroaig wasn't what I expected. It was ideal, and I could have sold it like that. But say, I always try to get the actual best I can. And I used to use, back in the 1960s, I used Spanish quarter casks. The Spanish quarter casks are about that deep, about that long. They are. But they haven't been produced since the Spanish Civil War in the 1930s. So all the quarter casks that were left were completely dead. There was nothing left in them. So I had remembered this from when I started, because I'm an old so-and-so. And I thought, that's a great idea. And the choice was given to me, well, how do you want the casks built? Because we can't produce them. And I thought, well, I know what these are like. Give me one of those. But instead of making it that diameter, making it that diameter, the actual diameter of the cask I gave them was 1.5 bottles. And if you actually go up there and look at them, you'll see they are. They're 1.5 bottles in diameter. But they're the same length as a barrel there. So that was what I designed that. And as I say, it honestly was an experiment. And when I'd put the whiskey in, I'd left it to mature. Then I started actually testing it to see when it would come to the right stage. And after a couple of months of testing, I phoned Michael up, who was our malts manager, and said to him, Michael, I've got the latest samples from the quarter cask. You've actually got 3 weeks to bottle it. And we bottled the first lot of quarter cask that we sold to the Friends of Laphroaig in green bottle with a cork, but we didn't even have a label design. There was nothing prepared. But we put it into bottle because if we'd left it any longer, it wouldn't have been right. Now, from that, because of that experiment I did and then went on to quarter casks, I then experimented with about another 12 single malts to see what would happen. Now, some single malts do not work in quarter cask. Take that for granted, they just don't. Ardmore, because it's a Highland peated malt, it's not as heavily peated as Laphroaig, because Islay malts are heavily peated, or most of them are. But it's a Highland peated malt. It worked perfectly with the quarter casks. And quite honestly, the cooperage that we build the quarter cask from is only about 8 miles from Ardmore. So when I was building cask for here, I just diverted some of them into Ardmore. But it's the same idea. There's no age, and it's a flavour package. And quite honestly, it's only been launched. We launched it in October last year, and so far it's won 2 gold medals in the first 2 competitions of this year. So it's not bad going.
And they're virgin. I mean.
Oh, they're all first fill. You can't. One of the things. Think about it, right? You have a barrel, one of these. Let's take it for the 1989, right? 17 years old. We fill that, and it's full when it's new whiskey. Each year we lose 2% from that cask through evaporation. So by the time we came to bottle that, we'd lost nearly 35% of what was in the cask. It was a third empty.